Hey everyone, I'm Kayla-Danielle Katie Murphy, and I'm going to quickly go over my lesson plan assignment. So overall, it was broken up into 2 days, and the first day was focused on where students were assuming the role of U.S. and UN researchers, trying to determine whether or not the United States should help rebuild Japan after World War II. They used various digital pieces of evidence and resources to find evidence that would support either yes, we should help rebuild Japan, or no, we should not help rebuild Japan, and then voting on a final opinion. The second day was where they found out the final result of what the United States did to help rebuild Japan, and then also creating their own opinion about whether they agree with that final result and then explain why. So I'm going to go through some of the resources that were used. So first of all, what you're seeing here is my class blog, and this is the post for the first page. I set up digital learning stations based on learning styles and preferences. As you can see, I have one, linguistic and reading, and it has different levels, different reading levels, and also if they used Microsoft Edge, then they could use the accessibility tools, visual pictures and galleries, first-hand pictures that were taken when the events were going on, aftermath videos, visuals, videos. Some of them were newsreels, some of them were footage after, some of them were reenactment videos, and a few of them were interviews of survivors. Hands-on, there was a Google tour in VR where they got to have a couple of options. There was Nearpod, Google tour, Hiroshima. Logical, they had to do their own inquiry, personal inquiry, and auditory listening to interviews that were recorded with survivors of Pearl Harbor, Hiroshima, and World War II. Apparently there is a podcast that is just about survivors. So this is the Nearpod. This is the one I did for the VR experience. And I did student paced, that way students could have a little more control over their learning and do their own personal dive into the VR. And this right here was where students could input their evidence. If they found, which was on Padlet, if they found evidence that they felt like supported, yeah, we need to help rebuild Japan, then they would click this plus sign and fill in information that they feel like would help support that. If they felt like they found a piece of evidence that showed, no, we do not need to help rebuild Japan, then they would click it on that side. What was great was having it on Padlet and having where students could see whether the people were posting. They could either see that there was a pattern with things, and they could already, when we were discussing it at the end of class, notice these patterns and notice what seemed to be the main reasons why people felt like, yes, we should rebuild, or no, we should not rebuild. Also, it was a good sense of accountability. If they noticed someone had put something that was not relevant, not on topic, they would let me know, and they would get it fixed. Second day. The second day, I had a screencast video that went over the final outcomes, and they took notes using a graphic organizer, which is linked here. Once they took their notes, then they completed a Flipgrid reflection. And it was a formative reflection over 3 parts. And the rubric is over here, and which was linked here, and students could reference it to prepare. The rubric focused on give 3 to 4 facts about how the United States did help rebuild Japan, give a fact that was shocking or something that surprised you about what the United States did to help rebuild Japan, and then their final opinion of, do I agree with what they came up with, do I disagree, and then explain why, and then use evidence to cite it. So, some final reflections. A lot of things with technology did not go as planned. If you read my final reflection on my lesson plan, I was bumped from using a laptop cart. So the library learning specialist had to help me find another plan, and I was bumped from the laptop cart like a couple of days before I had to implement this lesson. So that was a lot of stress. But the plan that we did come up with ended up being a little better because we were in the computer lab and it actually worked out really well. I had a lot more space to set up these stations physically. So a lot of the challenges that arose were because of this last minute scramble for technology, because I reserved technology the way I was supposed to, but some people in authority did not, and their need took precedence over mine. Sorry, I'm speaking softly. I'm recording this at school. So, how the lesson could be improved in the future, I think I would give more time for developing the flip grid videos. And the reason being, I didn't expect kids to really take a lot of time to want to script out and plan out what they were going to say for the flip grid. I thought it would be a little more like, how can I say this? I was thinking they were going to be a little more casual with their response, but I think in the future it'd be good to give them a little extra time to draft what they're going to say, and then also provide a checklist or some kind of a guideline of like sentence stems, especially for those who are SWDs or ELLs. Overall, though, it went really well. The students had a really great time and had great buy-in to what they were doing, just because of the fact that they were learning in the way they were strong in. So overall, I would say it was a great success, and I had a good time doing it. The kids had a great time, and they learned a lot, and also were able to create opinions and engage with technology in ways they hadn't before. So, yeah, it was great.